Jessica Devnani was a 29-year-old girl whose seemingly perfect life was shattered on February 27, 2018. Her fiancé, 25-year-old Patrick de la Cerda, was at his Deltona, Florida home awaiting the arrival of a custom-designed engagement ring, a surprise he had meticulously planned for Jessica. The previous evening, Patrick had left a loving voicemail message for his fiancée. Tragically, that was the last time anyone would hear from him. At 11:30 a.m. that fateful day, the Volusia County Sheriff's Department received an emergency call reporting a shooting at Patrick's residence. Law enforcement officers cautiously approached the expansive 9-acre property, uncertain if the shooter remained in the vicinity. As they neared the guest house, Jessica urgently approached them, directing them to the front door. She identified the house as belonging to her boyfriend and his father, who was away at work. The scene that awaited the officers was horrific. Patrick lay lifeless in the entrance, having been struck by 4 bullets fired through the glass door. The officers recognized the potential danger, unsure whether the perpetrator was still inside, potentially monitoring them through the security camera system that was installed at the house. With weapons drawn, they cautiously entered the guest house, announcing their presence. Other officers secured the surrounding buildings on the property. The search confirmed that the assailant had fled. Unbeknownst to the authorities, Jessica remained in danger. The man who would soon be seen comforting her in footage taken at the scene had allegedly been meticulously plotting Patrick's demise for months and was determined to achieve his objectives. While police secured the premises, Jessica waited anxiously in a patrol car. Soon, news helicopters appeared overhead, broadcasting the tragic event. Authorities confirmed that the shooting was not a random act of violence. Patrick's father, Max, who shared the property with his son, arrived home, devastated by the news. Max explained that he had been working on a construction job outside of town when the incident occurred. Overcome with grief, he lamented never having the chance to say goodbye to his son. However, he provided a potentially crucial piece of information to the investigating officer. He had received a suspicious phone call from someone claiming to be a delivery driver. Max explained that a sign at the gate instructed delivery drivers to call his number. He had relayed this information to Patrick, who did not respond. Investigators considered the possibility that the purported delivery driver was connected to the murder. They decided to take Patrick's father and Jessica to the district office in Deltona for questioning, while the crime scene unit began their work at the scene. The focus was on identifying any possible motive for Patrick's murder. Jessica, despite her distress, cooperated fully with the investigation. She shared details about her relationship with Patrick. Flashback to June 2017. Jessica, a bank teller in Orlando, had recently ended a difficult relationship and decided to try online dating. She connected with Patrick almost immediately, finding him intelligent and charismatic. Their connection was instant and profound, like a destined meeting. Patrick was described as someone who had a zest for life, bringing joy to every room he entered and always making Jessica laugh. She loved everything about him, describing him as kind-hearted and treating her like royalty. The couple had envisioned a future together, filled with children and a close family life. Patrick's mother shared the sentiment, expressing her excitement at the prospect of grandchildren. They were planning a fairy tale life. In December 2017, Patrick proposed to Jessica. The proposal was a joyous and unforgettable moment. Patrick gave Jessica a temporary ring while he worked with a jeweler to design a custom engagement ring, which was due to arrive the week of his death. That morning of February 27th, Jessica woke up to a text from Patrick. However, when she attempted to call him, he did not answer. Initially, she did not think anything of it. However, after repeated unanswered calls, she became increasingly concerned, as he was always available by phone. She left work immediately to check on him, fearing the worst due to prior threats the couple had received. Jessica spoke with Patrick's father, Max, on the phone. Both were frantically attempting to reach Patrick. During the call, Max heard his girlfriend, Shannon, arrive at the house. His tone shifted dramatically, and he became silent when asked about Patrick's well-being. Shannon discovered Patrick's body upon arrival. She was devastated by the sight. Detective Weaver and his team meticulously examined the crime scene, searching for any clues that might illuminate the circumstances surrounding Patrick's death. They immediately noticed that nothing appeared to be missing, eliminating robbery as a potential motive. 2.300 blackout shell casings were located at the scene. The team deduced that the shooter had collected the remaining shell casings. This detail suggested that the perpetrator was intelligent and methodical. The detective concluded that this was a calculated murder. The shell casings were identified as .300 blackout ammunition, which is commonly used in AR-style weapons. This type of ammunition is known for its high caliber and impact, suggesting intense rage on the part of the shooter. The detectives discovered the presence of video cameras and hoped that the footage might have captured the perpetrator or a vehicle involved. However, the DVR recording system was missing, indicating that the killer was trying to hide all evidence. It was clear that Patrick had been targeted. At the police station, Detective Weaver started to investigate the potential reasons someone would want Patrick dead. Jessica revealed an earlier incident that had occurred just a month prior. A neighbor had fired shots at Patrick for allegedly trespassing. Weaver's team immediately went to the neighbor's house, but he was not there. Later, they found out that he had been in custody at a jail facility. Detective Weaver then asked Jessica if there was anyone else who might have had a reason to kill Patrick. Jessica shared that she had been receiving ominous voicemails from her ex-boyfriend, Gregory Bender. Apparently, he had been unhappy about Jessica's relationship with Patrick. Bender, a hedge fund manager, had been persistent in trying to win her back. Their relationship had ended after Jessica discovered he was secretly married. Jessica had ended the relationship at that point. Despite ending the relationship, Bender was unwilling to let her go. He harassed Jessica with constant calls, social media stalking, and uninvited visits to her workplace. She had reported him to the police. However, they were unable to take any actions based solely on verbal harassment. Jessica explained to Detective Weaver that Gregory Bender was incapable of accepting the idea of her being with another man. After Jessica began dating Patrick, she was worried that Greg would find out. Patrick wanted to publicly display his relationship with Jessica, which led her to create a new profile and delete the old one. Soon, Bender found out about Jessica and Patrick, and he started threatening Patrick also. He threatened to harm Patrick's family and told him to leave Jessica immediately. The notebook gave the jury the details needed for premeditation. Also, they found an arsenal of ammunition and firearms. They also found .300 blackout bullets, but not the weapon to use it. While at the house, Weaver found one last piece of evidence: a spent .300 blackout shell casing. The shell casing was sent to the lab for analysis, and the police now had probable cause. Gregory Bender was charged with first-degree murder. However, they had not yet seen footage that would affect the defense attorney in court. Jessica felt relieved that Greg was arrested. The trial was long and difficult. Jessica felt victimized, and she received support from Patrick's family. At the trial, Gregory looked confident and relaxed. With no murder weapon, no DNA at the crime scene, and no eyewitnesses, this case was circumstantial. The defense attorney argued that there were other people who had the motive and opportunity. Throughout the opening statements, Gregory's eyes were fixed on Jessica. When Jessica was called to the stand, the defense attorneys started to attack her credibility. They presented videos of Jessica and Bender meeting for lunch and dinner. Jessica claimed that she met with Bender to calm him down because he said that he would not harm anyone. Gregory hired a private investigator to follow him around. Jessica told Patrick about the videos, and they had a fight. They eventually got back together. Damara took the stand and stated that Gregory had a plan to kill the guy. Gregory had an emotional reaction. A final piece of evidence was revealed. The security camera from a neighbor captured Gregory leaving his house and driving to Patrick's house. The murder plan that Gregory had mapped out was in motion. Gregory took out all his rage and jealousy. He thought that he had gotten away with the perfect murder. However, the shell casing was in his junk drawer. The casing tied Gregory Bender to the crime scene. Gregory couldn't take that Jessica had left him. The trial ended after 3 days. The jury found Gregory Bender guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. After the trial, Patrick's family went to the cemetery and celebrated with champagne and cake. Jessica was able to put the ring on that Patrick had designed. She wears the ring every day as a symbol of her love. And that was the tragic case of Patrick de la Cerda.